Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to another office hours for the FastStore beta. My name is Victor, and I'm a software engineer here at VTEX. I'm currently working on the FastStore team, and I'll also be your host for today's event. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, awesome. So, our first section for today is the announcement section. And in this section, we'll be bringing you the latest news from the team to keep you up to date with what we've been working on, some cool events coming up sometimes, or even just asking for some feedback. And today we have an announcement regarding the WebOps service. Uh, an additional WebOps variable required to launch new FastStore websites. To tell us a bit more about that, I'm going to call Nicasio.
Hello, guys.
Hey.
I'm a new member of the team of the WebOps team. I'm joined the WebOps team two months ago, I think. But I've been a software engineer at VTEX for a little over 1 year, I think, and I'm talk quickly about the new way to point a domain to point to a production store on the WebOps platform here. Um, so the current stores in the production have been manually configured, and it is not so scalable, right? And the recent past we needed to talk to the WebOps team to make configurations to point the store domain to the correct location where the cluster that runs FastStore store. And this process for the WebOps team was manual. In this, it is not a good way. But now we have a automated and transparent, more transparent process for the developers, the store developers. Um, Now we have three simple steps to make this configuration. The first configuration is add the your host on the vtex.aim file on your FastStore project. Uh, that's it. The second step is a common way to configure a host, store host on the VTEX platform, but we need on this flow, and go to the your admin in the VTEX account and configure your host on the license manager, and that's it. And the last step is a flow on our Slack. If you have access to the VTEX Slack, go to the channel. Let me check the name. Request domains migration and make a new request to migrate your domain to point to the FastStore cluster. But if you don't have access, just request a support or talk with your contact on the VTEX. Simple as that. This way, get two good points to the FastStore and WebOps platform. First is obviously the more efficient way to configure a host to point to our store, and we can remove the CDN, the second CDN, to point to the FastStore cluster, and we have a little more efficiency when between the communication and the CDN and the cluster. And that's it. Now we have a more scalable process. And if you have a problem when you check and test this way, talk with WebOps teams. But that's it.
Awesome. Awesome. So just to just to see if I get it, because I was not aware of that, so that's awesome. It looks like it's gonna be much easier to like actually put a store in production. That's it, right? Now it's a
Yeah.
bit more automated instead of like always depending like fully on the web ops team, right?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. And for the stores that are already live, do they also need to make that change to vtex.envy, or they just
For
they don't
the
need
current
anything?
stores on live, we need to make little issues, uh, implement use of the dot secure domains because the current stores don't using it, and migrate to the gets before. But for the new stores, this workflow works fine.
Awesome, awesome. And just one last thing, when you have to actually make a request to you have to make a request to actually perform the how I forgot how to say, like, but you have to go to a Slack channel and ask for the last step, right?
Yes, the last step, use a SRE to migrate the domains to point to FastStore CDN, and just open this request and select the FastStore platform, and SRE to care uh, this for you. Basically, is
Okay. And this step is only for VTEX staff, right? So like if you're a
yeah,
developer in an agency, you would need to ask like the CX from
yeah,
VTEX to actually do that. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, I guess that's it. I think I got it. Thanks a lot, Nicasio. We hope to see you more here. Thanks for participating,
Thank you.
and welcome to the whole web ops team. Hope you're enjoying
Yeah, thank you.
it. Awesome. See ya. Okay, so that's all I have for you today in terms of announcements. Just a quick one about the web ops. Um, and if you want to keep up to date with everything that we've been working on, and usually get those news even before we bring them here to the office hours, check faster.dev/releases. Because, well, as soon as we release something, you will have like a nice formatted document there. Everything that Nicasio talked about, like just a few seconds ago, you can find it there, like detailed and everything, the whole step by step on how to actually use this feature. So there you go. Always keep an eye on faster.dev/releases. Okay, awesome. So for the next section, the Ask the Community section. And well, this section is all about the community. This is where we bring some of your questions from VTEX community here to the office hours, so that we can give more in-depth answers and more people get to see them. And we also usually invite people from other teams to come here and comment on your answers. Awesome. So today we have is it one? No, just one question about the CMS. And to answer this one, I have George with me. Hey, George.
Hey, Victor. Thanks for calling me
Hey.
here again. Back to answer your questions. I'm going to give you a break. I think I have two or three questions in a row. Go ahead and just power through them. So let me take it away. All right. So the first question was made by Eric from Corbiz. Thanks, Eric, for your question. And just translating here for folks who don't speak Portuguese, Eric was wondering whether he could, uh, while using the CMS in beta, uh, populate content in a development workspace and then promote it so that this content in the CMS would be reflected in the production environment. So he was wondering whether that was possible, and if so, how to do it, because he couldn't do it. All right. So let me go to his question and get the answer that we got from Mateus, just going through the screenshots he shared. So he's working in a store, and in the production environment, he doesn't see anything. And in the development environment, so Eric Quito, he sees this published version and then fictional data or mock data shown there. So he actually populated it, and then when he clicked on publish in a development workspace, what he saw was this. So it's different status, right, for something that's, it's not published, it's not a draft, it's fictional data. How so? And it's actually a really interesting answer. Mateus told him that this mock data or fictional data is only used for developers to be able to test sections without affecting the page in production. So there's no connection between development workspaces and production workspaces in the context of CMS beta. So the best way for you to go about doing it is for you to really replicate the content that you have in the development environment to the production environment. So if you have data that you want to show in the production environment, you shouldn't add it in the development environment. You should add it in the production environment. Then there's such thing as a draft kind of content. So besides this published version, you can have a draft here, and use releases to schedule that to publish or something else. So the workflow that he's recommending is, hey, use development environments in CMS beta only for you to test the sections, see if you can get it into your front-end code, but never to just preload content that needs to be published at a future date. For you to preload content that needs to be published at a future date, use your own production environment and use the versions and releases. It's a different logic. Also, one thing that he shared is that the way that's possible for you to, if you did that and you regret it, but you need to get the content back to production, there's no simple way for you to do that, but you can use your GraphQL IDE inside your admin. There are some GraphQL queries you could make so that you can copy over data and then push it back using the API, the CMS API, to publish it. It's not very practical, it's not very easy, but if you need to do it in batch, or if you need to do it and you don't want to make manual mistakes, that's the way to do it. He went ahead, he was nice enough to do that for Eric this time. Don't expect us to do that all the time, please. Please follow the appropriate workflow. But I hope that was clear and it helped Eric out. Hopefully, I think that's a common question people might have. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. Now for the next question, I have Gustavo Felix, and he's asking about file uploads. He's wondering whether there's any endpoint that would allow him to upload images or any other file for that matter to VTEX using FastStore. So he has a bunch of images he wants to upload and that he uses in a bunch of places in his e-commerce, and he's wondering whether there's an easier way for them to do that. So we actually have the answer by our very own. I think I mixed up the order here. I didn't expect to answer this one right now, but either way, Vitor Miranda, our host, he answered this really well. He gave a few alternatives. One of them is for you to use File Manager. That's actually an API that's available in VTEX.io as well. So you can do a curl, you can do a post request, and this is a curl for that. Just use this endpoint. You have to add your account here. You can add, for instance, FastStore. I think FastStore is the name of the bucket where you want to store that, so you can keep it separate. This might be, you might be able to use it for others, but maybe they can answer that later. But yeah, you can save images with a name and file extension. This is a token from I/O. So if you have the VTEX IO CLI, you'd have to, for instance, run VTEX local token and then copy that token and use it for authorization. But if you're using an app, for instance, if you build your own app to upload files, you could authenticate there using CTX auth token, for instance. But you don't have to go that route. So there's a way for you to do it on the very old CMS. There's a way for it to do it in the newer CMS by just using the image widgets. Once you upload an image there, just get that URL and bring it back. Though that's probably not the scalable solution that Gustavo was looking for, right? He wants a bunch of images. He doesn't want to upload them one at a time. But yeah, you can use site editor. You can use CMS interface. There's a few ways to do it. They're not very simple on their own. We probably need to do a better solution for that. But I wanted to share one thing that my team, the documentation team, did that's very interesting using that API. So just food for thought, maybe it could be useful to have a similar approach there. So FastStore.dev is actually a website that also needs a bunch of images, right? Our documentation uses images, and we wanted to have an easy way to store these images outside GitHub and without having to upload them manually. So what Carol from my team did was she created this Google Drive folder called FastStore Images, and we figured out a way to kind of connect the upload between Google Drive and File Manager using the API. So I'm just going to demo it real quick. Say I have this image here and I want to upload it to VTEX. I can have a bunch of images. I'm just going to put one here as an example. So I just uploaded that to Google Drive. And then I have this script here in Google Apps script. So it's a spreadsheet. It's kind of slow today. Yeah, so if I run this new menu here, get images in Google Drive folder, what it's going to do, it's a script that's going to go in that folder and fetch every single image and get their ID. And with that, I can use the Google Drive API to fetch the actual binary data, and then I can use the File Manager API to upload it. So we can go through hundreds of files there and upload them really easily. So I'm just going to run it real quick so you can get a sense of how it goes, and then I'm going to go through a bit of the code just so you get a sense. So I upload to File Manager. It's running that script. The Disco Dance image that I had uploaded earlier went to this other tab because it was already previously uploaded. And this one that just got uploaded, I have a URL. It's ready to go. So if I click here, that's the image I had. It's one of the something to promote our co-CEOs. They're running for a prize here. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it could be as simple as that, right, Gustavo? And our code isn't rocket science. Like in Google Apps script, you could add this on open thing to add the menu. So this is what generates our menu there. So this, right, this thing. And then each one of these is a function. For instance, I'm not going to go through the get all images. Well, I might. It's just real quick script here that goes through the sheet, opens the folder, gets all files, and then iterates through them, gets their name, gets their ID, and adds them to the sheet. Pretty simple. Now the put file manager code is what really uses that same API that Victor mentioned. We get that URL, it's the same one that he showed us, but with the name of the file. We do a put request. Our payload is a blob. From the file ID, we add a local token. I copied it over here manually before we started. So there's a token here that I got from VTEX IO CLI. Yeah, and we just, when I do update, when I go to put file manager, yeah, that's one request, right? when I'm doing here, it's menu item 1. So menu item 1 runs update Google Sheets, gets all images, and then we iterate through every one of them and do put file manager. So it's a way for us to really, in a simple way, allow users to add files to a Google Drive folder, and then we run a script, and API goes through all of them and uploads them. So there's another idea. So there's no easy way right now, but it should be pretty simple for you to hack something that works for you, just like we did. All right, so next question. Predefining sections from a content type. So what Beck Rodriguez wanted to ask us is whether there's a possibility for us to have a content type that already brings in the sections in our headless CMS. For instance, we have a content type, so like a page type, like a landing page, and he wants, or she, I don't know if Beck Rodriguez is a man or woman, but this person, they want that page to be kind of already built with a certain structure, right? Each section is a sort of a component. They don't want to have to build a page one by one. There may be, dozens of components there. And what Lucas Marinho answered in VTEX Community, he's our engineering manager for headless CMS. He said, yeah, I understand that's something you would like to do. Unfortunately, we don't currently offer this functionality, but we plan it for the future. For now, what you can do as a workaround is for you to create a page, setting it up with the structure you want, but adding that name, a marker like template, and then adding the sections you think are relevant, and then using the duplicate functionality to do that. So it's not bulletproof, but let me just demo real quick. So I think I have the CMS configured here. I might be completely mistaken, but let me try to demo live what Lucas is suggesting. So say you log into your admin and you go to CMS. I'm going to do it in English for today. Not Romanian. I'm not speaking Romanian yet, but soon, hopefully. Practicing my Spanish for now. Anyway, CMS beta pages. What Lucas is suggesting is that we create something like a template. So let me try to do it right now. I think it's not active here. So I'm going to try a different page. Let me see. Beauty should be working here. Different test account. I think it will have what I need. Just a moment, guys. For now, those of you who are watching right now, give me some love. Where's the chat? No one is sending us any love in the chat. Send us a message. Who are you? Who's watching right now? I see a few people here. We're a little shy today. Say hello. It's always nice to see new faces. Or I'll talk to myself. That's fine too. Let's see if this loads. While I wait for this to load, Victor, do you want? Hey, Addison, glad to see you here. Awesome that you're here. Hear your face. Thanks for joining us today. Awesome. So while I'm loading here, Victor, what do you think about this Google Drive approach to file manager? Did you imagine you could do that?
No, I didn't. I never tried it out actually. Like I've up until like last week, I didn't know this app scripting existed. So
yeah, no, I'm a big promoter. I'm always using it everywhere I can. Yeah, I see Guilherme Gila is with us as well. Alisson's saying hi. Yeah, there you go, folks. Come on, talk to us. It's me and Victor here.
Nice.
We're busting our butts here to help you out. Come on, give us some love. All right. I'll give you the backstage again so I can keep going here. Okay, so I'll just do it in Portuguese. So here I am in Pages, and I can create a new page, let's say a home page. And what Lucas was telling us to do is, hey, just add a name and say it's like template, homepage 2022 or whatever. And then you can pre-populate it with the sections you want, whatever sections. Hero. I would be a horrible marketing analyst. I never know what to do. Yeah, but let's say this is what you want. This yellow thing is what I was talking about earlier, drafts, right? This is the proper way for you to prepare changes and then publish it in the future. I'll save this for now. And then when I go back here, you'll notice it's listed, right? And then the suggestion is that when do you want to use when you want to create a new page that's like that one, instead of going here and editing, you go here, duplicate. Yes, I want to duplicate. There you go. And then you have a new page. The sections will be there, right? And then you can just call it like homepage Black Friday or whatever. And this is saved already. When I duplicate it, it's saved automatically. So now I have a new page. There you go. So while we don't actually need to do that to achieve the result that Beck Rodriguez was asking about, and let me see who. Yeah, Beatriz, it's a girl. Beatriz wanted to do that. You don't need a new feature for that, but of course, it'll feel a lot more seamless if we had that template functionality. It's planned for the future, but not for now. All right, so that's what I had for today, Victor. Back to you.
Well, quite a lot. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks, George.
No problem.
Awesome. So now it's my turn. I have quite a few questions as well. And there is also kind of a quick demo that I wanted to show all of you. Okay, I'll start with the first one. This is a question that we got today, earlier today. And basically the problem that they were having is, okay, so I have a store, and if you look into our starters, you will notice that we do something kind of like this. I have them open here, so it's easier to just show you. Like, we have this, right? Pages, and then you have all of the templates, right? So we use dynamic routing, right, to generate the page for every type of page that you want, right? So for example, if you go to a product page, you're actually rendering this page right here, right? Slug and then P. Because if you go to a product page, it's like slash the name of the product, right? The slug that would go here, and then slash P, right? Awesome. But what if you don't have kind of anything? It's just slug, whatever. Then you will fall here in this page. If you've been using VTEX for a while, you know that, well, we kind of automatically handle those sort of pages, right? Like for slash anything. It's going to be either a category page, a search page, subcategory, whatever, right? There are these different page types, right? So for example, if you create a collection, you expect this to work, right? Like for example, say this Novidades Feminino. This is a collection. This is a collection that they created on the catalog. So they expect that, okay, if you go to slash Novidades Feminino, right, the name, it's gonna render a collection page, right? So it would render this template right here, slug.css. And by the way, this is Next.js store, but I mean, they were using Gatsby. If you look at the Gatsby one, it's pretty much the same thing. Here, pages, pretty much the same thing. I'm just gonna keep to next because that's the one I have already opened here. But anyway, so they were rendering this page, and this page would not load. Like it would always they would always fall into this 404 page, right? As if this route did not exist. But then like it was not just, the issue was not simply, okay, this route doesn't exist, because, well, if we have kind of a catch-all here, this route will exist, right? It's going to match there. So they were getting this error in their terminal. Catalog returned collection for slug, and then this is the slug for that collection. This usually happens when there is more than one category with the same name in the same category tree level. Okay, and you can also see like kind of where did this come from. You can see that it's coming from base Node modules, FastStore API, dist, and the API. Okay, so this is coming from the FastStore API, right? So the page is not rendering because somewhere in the requests that are being made to render the page, because to render this page, we do this, right? Server collection page query. So this query gets executed, right? So that the page actually renders. And this is the query collection slug, and then the slug that they got, which is, if that's familiar. And then it resulted in this 404. Okay, awesome. So this kind of error was not expected, because what this means is pretty much this. You're making a request to the catalog telling, okay, tell me the page type for this. What is this novidade feminino? Like, what is this slug for? What does it stand for? What type of page do I need to render? Yeah, and this is where you would get something like category, subcategory, collection, cluster, all of those different kinds of pages. It just returns the page type, and we need this information in order to know like what should we return for you. Okay, but then the thing is, not every value is valid, right? And for example, if you receive full text here, it basically means that the catalog interpreted the slug that you sent as full text. And what that means is it didn't match any category, any subcategory, any collection. It didn't match anything. It's just a full text search. So that's why we kind of throw this error at you to let you know that, hey, this is probably not what you were looking for. And you should, and I mean, if you're entering a page that actually has a slug that is being detected as a full text, which means doesn't match anything, you're not supposed to be rendering this page, right? You don't want to render this. You actually want to render the search page, which is here, right? This S is the search page, right? Search results and everything. And then you would that's the kind of the correct thing to do. Awesome, great. But here, this was not the case. It was returning collection. So how did I figure out kind of what the problem was? I mean, collection is valid, right? I mean, it makes sense that the collection page would be rendered by it should be working when you want to render the products from the collection. You should be able to get that from the collection pages, right? So that's what we had here. So I just looked at this and said, okay, so collection is not being interpreted as a valid type. How can I validate this? How can I kind of make this work? And just see if the catalog side is okay. I'm gonna put that on hold because this other question is very it's very related. They're both very close to one another, but this question was a similar problem. They were getting a 404, but now for a subcategory page. Okay, so not just a collection or a product cluster, but a subcategory page. And that's something that I also found was um, pretty interesting, because if you look into our starters, this doesn't happen. Like, we don't get these errors, even though we have categories and we have department and categories. But the thing is, we don't have any subcategory. So that's probably why we didn't catch this before. Like, if you navigate into the on Gatsby store or Next.js store, you're not gonna run into this. So I thought it was like pretty interesting that, okay, we just didn't get this because, well, we never faced this subcategory scenario before. So anyway, here the error was a little bit different, but I mean, we kind of bundled the solution into one PR and released a new version of FastStore API. So I think it's worth, like, I want to show you kind of like how can you kind of test this stuff and know if, like, because this all of this investigation, like, you can actually do it yourself. I mean, we don't mind doing it, but you can also do it yourself and maybe even try and already come up with the solution. So it's pretty cool. Just want to show you what's that workflow like. How does that work like? Okay, so the thing is, the error here is enum store collection type cannot represent value subcategory. So what this means is you're making the request with this slug, right? Feminino, accessorios, cinto. Beleza. Okay. So you get this, and then if you ask for the page type on that, the catalog is going to tell you, okay, this is a subcategory. But then the error that you're getting here is an error from the GraphQL, right? Like, okay, you're returning a subcategory in the actual resolvers for FastStore API, you're returning subcategory. But subcategory is not a supported type. Like, if you look into the schema, we did not have this. Like, if you look into the FastStore schema, there was no subcategory. Like, this was not a valid value. So that's why this error was happening. Simple as that. And actually, like, I would like to thank, let me see the name, Eduarda, for including like all of these print screens, because this was very useful. It told us like exactly what the error is, and then like what she was already looking into. Like, okay, so this is the actual resolver for the collection query, and she looked into it. She pretty much found where the issue was, which is like, if you go into the type defs collection, you will notice that store collection type, there is no subcategory here, right? So that's why she was seeing this error. And then does this happen for some reason? And is there a specific way to like actually make subcategory pages? Like, should we do something different and everything? I mean, the nice answer is that no, you don't. This is pretty much like, that's exactly what you're expected to do. Like, you don't have to especially handle subcategory pages or collection pages. We should already be supporting that. But the thing is, that specific value, like subcategories, is missing in the schema, or at least it was. And for this one, the problem was that, well, we did not consider like page type collection to be a valid one. Okay, so that's kind of what the issue was. And then you can see here in the, like, this is the actual FastStore repo. If you look, I saw that George just sent in the chat as well. But yeah, like, I opened up here, just add these things in, and then like, validate it, and now it should be working fine. I included here the actual version number, 1.10.18. So if you're having these issues, upgrade to FastStore API 1.10.18 and you should be fine. So the issues were pretty much just, okay, there was actually something missing from our side. Okay, so inside of the resolver for the collection query, we were not interpreting collection pages as something that was valid. So we just threw an error. And we did not take into account that that store collection type could have the value subcategory. Okay, so that's what was causing both of them. Now, what I wanted to show you, I think it's pretty cool, and I don't know if everyone is aware of that, but when you're having issues such as this, and you know that the problem is probably on FastStore API, and not necessarily on your store, there's a pretty nice way that you can like run FastStore API locally without having to like run yarn link and all of that stuff, because I know that it's kind of finicky. So what I want to show you is this. And this is also great if you want to contribute to the FastStore API. Like if you, for example, wanted to already open a PR, like just adding the page types that I added in my PR, like you could do that PR yourself as well if you want to. But the thing is, you can just come here into the FastStore repo, then clone the thing. It's already here. I have the and the FastStore here. So I have FastStore here. What I wanted to show you is this. If you go into packages, and inside of the API package, we have this local folder. And this local folder, if you look into it, this is basically just an Express server. Okay, this is just an Express server, and then we use GraphQL HTTP from Express GraphQL. And if you run this, like if you run this single file, this is a node. This is just a TypeScript file that spins up a GraphQL server, a very simple GraphQL server with not a lot of features. But what it does is it spins up that server running FastStore API, like in its most, let's say, pure kind, like the actual FastStore API without Gatsby or without Next, just like just like the node package, right? Just FastStore API. And this is very useful if you want to quickly test stuff. For example, when I was debugging both of these problems, what I did was just get this server here, and then you will notice that this API options object, we have an account here, right? Here in their example, they were using an account called, where was it? I don't think it appears here. Yes, it does. Like homologa pp of premium.store. So just this first part, right? So you can pretty much replace this with whatever you want, like the account name that you're using. So if you say you're working on this store, you just get the account name for this store, place it here, and then you just run yarn develop inside the packages API folder. This will spin up the server. I'm gonna run it in the Store Framework account, which is our test account, default test account, and it will tell you, okay, it's running on localhost for 4000/GraphQL, which I have it here, and here you get a fully functioning graphical. So, for example, if I look for the collection query, which is exactly the query that they were trying to run. If you run this query on and look for the Office slug, there you go. This will run, and it's running on the local server. You get your response. I find this is a bit easier to handle than like actually spinning up the store, especially on Gatsby, because Gatsby like adds quite a few things to the final schema. And Next, not so much, but Next doesn't provide you with a nice graphical like environment to run your queries. You kind of have to use something else, like GraphQL Playground, for example, if you want to like run the GraphQL requests like against your Next store. So that's pretty neat, because this has hot reloading as well. So for example, if you've never seen the code for FastStore API, this is pretty much it. Like we have the source here, and then this index, which we use to export things. Like these are the functions that you actually import, right, inside of your store. When you import something from FastStore API, you import these functions here. But then we have this platforms folder. Inside platforms, we have VTEX. And here you can find all of the clients that we use to make our HTTP requests internally. All of the loaders, and the implementation for each resolver, for each type that we have, okay? So let's say the collection one was the one I was looking at earlier. Here you go. Like this is the resolver for the collections type. And here you can and this is the specific field that I saw a print for that here. Yes, this is right here. And you can run this locally. So for example, if you want to console log stuff, or even if you want to put a breakpoint, like this is super cool actually. I think I'm running a bit long, but I hope it's fine. For example, if you come here into the product and then you want to see, okay, what's the actual value for this is variant off, you can just come here into VS Code, place a breakpoint. You can't be running the thing here, but then you can just come here, run and debug, Node.js, because this is a Node.js application. This is gonna spin up the server that I showed you, like the local server. And then if I make a request asking for this, like this SEO field, I'm not gonna run it just because I don't have like the request written here, and I would have to go into like assemble the request. I don't want to do it right now, but it would break on the, not break, like it would stop in the breakpoint, and then you can look into the variables here, all that good stuff. So like you can easily run the FastStore API locally and use that to debug any issue that you might be having on your store without, like, I think this is a more transparent way of doing that, because you're not having to yeah, you don't have to like run the store and then like just be dealing with errors that are coming from your node modules folder, right? You can actually like make changes and test them in real time here. Okay, so just wanted to encourage you all to try to do that. If you're having troubles with FastStore API, you can try to run it locally and, like kind of figure out where the issue is. It's easier to debug instead of like just looking at huge stack traces. Okay, so that was pretty long, but that's it. I'm looking at the chat here and I saw that there is a question about how can we now, okay, from Gila, can we now have department, category, subcategory URLs on our starters? Yes, we can. Yeah. I mean, it just needs to be updated to the latest version of FastStore API, but yes, we can. Yep, that's right. Awesome. So I hope that I talked a lot, but I hope that helped. Now I have one more question, so bear with me. This should be a bit shorter, but I have something that's kind of cool to show you. But yeah, like this question is, I think a lot of you will probably come across the same problem, which is, okay, it's pretty common, especially in Brazil. I don't know how common it is in the US. I think much less, but it's common to like actually make purchases and then like have them in monthly payments, right? So you have your full price and then you split that into a few monthly payments. Anyway, how can you, then the question from Samara was, okay, how can I show that information to our clients, right? Because if you look into our stores, like our base stores, our both stores, we don't show you this information, right? We just show the price and maybe some discounts, but not like how many installments you can have. Okay, so the answer for that is pretty much, well, you have to extend our schema. I feel like a lot of the questions that we get here, like the answer is, we don't give you this information like right away, so you have to extend our schema. But something nice that I wanted to show you is that there is we have documentation on how to extend our schema. I've showed that here already in a few office hours. But I wanted to show one specific thing, because this bit of information here, the installments information for a certain product, this bit of information belongs inside of a kind of a VTEX entity known as a commercial offer. Okay, so every product has one or more commercial offers if it's being sold by some seller inside of VTEX. Okay, so this information is inside the product's object, right? So if you ask for information about an object from the catalog, you're gonna get all of this information, including this installments option that you want. Okay, but the thing is, we don't use that in our schema. Like, it's not in the FastStore API schema, so you can extend it. Awesome, great. What I wanted to quickly like touch upon is is when you're extending our schema, like our original schema, if you follow the documentation and everything, it's gonna ask you to do something like this, like, oh, okay, counts, resolvers, this is an object, and then the name of the object will be the name of the type that you're trying to extend. So, for example, product, I would have to do something like this, because I would say you wanted to do something like this, right? This is a function. Awesome. And then you would write your resolver like normally, right? Up until this point, like it's in the documentation. The one thing I wanted to mention is you don't have to like kind of write your whole resolver from scratch. And like inside this function, you don't have to do like, I don't know, fetch, and then make the request for VTEX, commerce, blah, 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 and / catalog. And, like you don't have to perform a fetch request here, get all of the product data, and then just return the installments option. You don't have to do that. There's kind of a shortcut, because as you're extending a type that we already have, which is the product type, you have access to a bunch of variables actually, but you have I think it's like 4 variables, but the main one that I wanted to touch upon is this one, root. I mean, you can have any name you want, but but this root, the first variable that will be passed to your resolver, because this is called a field resolver, right? Like you're writing a resolver for one specific field inside a field that already exists, a type that already exists, which is the product type. Okay, so this first variable right here, the type of this variable is the object that its father, like the root of its parent, like the root of the type that you're extending has access to. Let me show you like when this is actually implemented in the FastStore API, because we use this a lot. Here, for example, we have the platforms, VTEX, resolvers. Let's say here in the, I want to say, product group. These are the resolvers for the product group type, okay? And then the product group type has a bunch of fields, right? It has variant, product group ID, name, additional property, okay? You will notice that all of these resolvers, they are kind of like, they are not, like, for example, to resolve this product group ID, I don't have to make a request to the catalog to get that information, because when my GraphQL, when my GraphQL query is being executed, this field right here, store product group, this is inside the product group, the type product. And like at this point, we already have all of the information of the product that we need to have. Okay, so this root type is this type defined right here, right? Promise type. This is kind of like TypeScript stuff, but this is the important thing. Like it's store product dot is variant of. So this means the type for this root object is whatever is inside this is variant type, which comes from the store product type. I think this is a bit confusing. It's not that easy to explain, I guess. But the thing is, when you have the parent type, like store product, and then you have the fields below it. in the parent type, you already have a bunch of information. Like, you already made your request to the catalog and got the information for the product. Now what you're doing is pretty much you're just getting all of that information, passing it to to its children, right? The field resolvers, and they all have the full product information, but they just return what they want to. Okay, so for example, if you're here, I want to add these installments, I would do pretty much the same thing here. Like, I would get a root, like this root variable. The type for this is the same type that you can find on store product. Not even store product is variant of. Like, you can get the whole store product type, which is this one, right? Store product type here. Like, your resolver, it's almost as if your resolver were here. Like, it's, yeah, as if it were here. Like, as if you were just writing installments here as a new type. Then you would have access to the root. The only difference is that you're not writing it here because this is the FastStore API. You're writing it in your store, but everything will run at the same point. So you have access to this root variable. And then inside this root variable, you have access to a lot of things, like videos, attachments, complement name, blah, 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 whatever you want. To get that installment information, you would go like root, sellers, and then, inside of each, let's say, I just want to show you what you get, right? So you have the conversion offer, and then inside of the conversion offer, you can get your installments, which is an array, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's an array of installments, which is an object, and then you get all of that, and you get all of that good stuff, and then send it to use it at your store, right? So what I'm doing here in the FastStore API, you can do it here in your store. Like, this is inside Next.js store, what I'm showing you here, and this is inside FastStore API. Okay, just wanted to point out that you have access to this, like this root folder. Like, the functions that you create here to be your resolvers, they're not called like empty. They're not called in a void. Like, when you merge your resolvers with our resolvers, everything gets executed like in the same type, at the same time. Okay, so you have access to the same things that we do here. I'm just pointing this out, confusing everyone to try to avoid unnecessary extra requests when trying to implement a resolver for a type that already exists. Okay, so yes, very long answer, but that's how you place this installments information here. You extend our schema and get the installment information from the catalog because it's already there. Like, it's already there. We just didn't add it to our default schema. Okay, so that's it. That's it. That's what I had for you for these questions, at least. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Awesome. So that's what we have. I talked a bunch. Hope to not confuse everyone. Hope this was all helpful in some way. But just a quick reminder, don't forget to add the office hours tag to your questions in VTEX Community, and so that we know that you want your questions to be featured here in the office hours. We can pick them up, bring them here, and we'll answer your questions live as we did right now. Okay, so keep the questions coming. Awesome. Demo time. I think I kind of spoiled my demo because I pretty much did everything I was going to do. So yeah, how to run FastStore API locally. I just showed you that. So if you want to have the demo experience, I don't know, wait for the live to end and then go back and watch just that segment. There you go. You have a demo. But if anyone else wants to present a demo, you're free to do so. We actually encourage you a lot. We would love to have more demos from the community here. And how can you do that? You can just fill out the form at community.vtex.com/office-hours-beta. Fill out a quick form just telling us about what you want to present, and then we'll get in touch and make it happen. Okay, so everyone is invited. We might have a demo next week. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess that. Oh yes, and something that I needed to announce, and I kind of forgot. Yes, I need to announce that we are moving from a weekly schedule here in the office hours into a bi-weekly one. So we're actually not having. It's the same. It's gonna be the same schedule for the office hours global. So if you're watching office hours global, it's pretty much like it's gonna happen on the same day. So you'll have a bunch of office hours. But yeah, the thing is, we're moving from. So instead of having an event next week, we're gonna have an event like 2 weeks from now. Okay, and we'll move on like that. Be sure to let us know if you like what you think of that. Like if you hate it, if you hate some reason, if you really enjoyed having it like every week, if you think that I don't know, maybe it's taking too long for like your questions to be featured or sometimes announcements. I don't know. Just tell us what you think because well, this is for the community, so we would love to hear from you as much as possible. Okay, awesome. So with that out of the way, now we ended the office hours. So thanks everyone. Thanks for watching and see you in 2 weeks. Bye.